President, members of the board, thank you for having me tonight. For the record, Peter Toscano, law office of Drago and Toscano LLP, and new address at 15 Broad Street, Suite 610. And a copy of the change plans. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here. We were here before in regards to this matter. However, the plans have changed. The plans have changed based on meeting with the neighborhood, coming before the neighborhood association, both new neighborhood, both new rep. So we've made some amendments to the plans. Now, we could have withdrew the existing ALT number and refile the plans, but the city allows us to just simply make an amendment, submit additional plans, amended plans, and also change the description of the long form application. So in this case, that's what we're doing. So the new plans and the simple changes. The original plan was changing the legal occupancy from 6 residential units and 2 stores to 11 residential units and 2 stores. Based on the community concerns, we have eliminated 2 of the units. To make it from 6 and 2 stores to 9 residential units and 2 stores. Give you a little idea, a little background of the property. I represent Joanne Terminated and Nick Demori, who were the owners of the properties. There's 2 properties located at there's one at 92-96 Salem Street, and then around the corner is one Widget Street, which are about each other. They've now, with the help of George Collins, who's the land surveyor, condensed the 2 parcels. They are now 1 parcel. They've owned the properties for 20 plus years. And there's going to be an owner-occupied building. Existing right now is the 6 units. And to give you a little description, on the first floor is the Wild Duck package store. Wild Duck really, although it takes up the entire floor plan of the first floor of the existing building, it's really 2 storefronts. It's always been 2 storefronts years ago. We just occupied both storefronts. Above it, there's 2 one-bedroom residential units on each floor, the 2nd, 3rd floor. So we're not touching those units other than providing a full sprinkler system, which we are required to do once we change the occupancy. So other than putting a full new sprinkler system in there, that's not going to change. What is going to change is the new building. Currently right there is a single story, it's about 15 feet high, single story building. There's some space in between the 92, 96 Salem Street building and Widget Street. So we want to connect the 2 buildings, and we're going to add 5 stories up to 53 feet in height. And the first floor is going to be a 1-bedroom residential unit, approximately 612 square feet, and that's going to be owner-occupied by Victor Warren. The 2nd and 3rd floor, which is a change, that's going to be 1 unit. The prior plans were 2 units, 2 one-bedroom units, so we're going to make 5 one-bedrooms. And people have concerns with that. People have concerns that they're going to be more of a dorm room, so we want to make larger rooms. So we connected the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor to make that 1 unit. That's going to be a large 2-bedroom unit. It's going to be over 1,000 square feet, roughly about 1,060 square feet up and down unit, 2-bedroom unit. And the same with floors number 4 and 5. They're going to connect. Rather than making 1 unit, it's going to be 2 units. It's going to be same thing, same floor plan, large 2-bedroom unit, over 1,000 square feet of living space. There was a couple of concerns at the last meeting with the neighborhood is roof access. There was concerns that we had some isolated area where isolated incident where some kids were seen climbing up the drain pipe to the existing roof, and it certainly caused some nerves for the abutters and some concern with the landlord. We certainly don't condone it. We don't allow people to go on the roof right now. There's really no access to the roof. These kids got up there by climbing the drain pipe. The access to the roof, when we put this new building, and the reason why we're connected to the building, we're going to use the existing staircase that's at 92, 96 Salem Street. So the existing staircase we're going to use, that's going to have access to all 9 units. Even though Widget Street building is going to be a little bit taller, it's 1 story taller, but that door that leads out to the roof on 92 Salem, the existing roof deck, is going to be locked. Not going to have access to it. It's going to be locked because all second means of egress is going to be done through the back stairway, a new back stairwell that's going to be behind the new building. And everybody's going to, as you can see from the plans, everybody's going to have access to that back stairwell that's going to lead down to the back of the Terrabia restaurant, which leads out to Bartlett Place. Now, around you to it, so if you're looking at the Widget Street building to the left, there's a 55-foot building that to its west. Across the street of Widget Street is a 55-foot building. So it's immediate right adjacent, which is a property that's owned by the Mori family, is 1 story low, it's about 43 feet in height. And then the one Terramita building is 55 feet. Behind it is 8 to 12 Bartlett Place. That's probably about 43 feet in height. And then on the other side of Bartlett Street with the laundromat, that's about 55. So this is surrounded by buildings. Widget Street is actually multifamily residential subdistrict, but since we're using the Salem Street address, it falls into the neighborhood shopping district. Some of the violations that we see by being in the neighborhood shopping district is the first floor turning into residential is conditional. But if we use the Widget Street address, that's multifamily, it would have been allowable. But technicality, it's conditional, so we need a variance for that. Second and above is allowable use for all residential units in neighborhood shopping district. Cover the violations is the open space. Open space in the neighborhood shopping, we need to have 50 square feet of open space per unit. Unless we're putting a roof deck, that covers all that, we won't be able to meet that requirement. We're not putting any balconies, there's no proposal for any roof decks. So we're not going to seek relief for the open space. Rear yard is sufficient in this district. It's sub-district is 20 feet. Well, in the back there is some space, but it's not 20. So you're going to see violation, maybe roughly 12, but maybe 10 to 12 space to keep that here. So we'll seek relief from that. There's the off-street parking, which is always a common violation here in the neighborhood, and we're not providing parking on site. We just can't do it. It's a small building. The thing about it, and as I always say, the North End, people move to the North End. There's walking distance to the Haymarket train station, North Station, Government Center, bike trails, highway bikes. So we're going to seek relief for some parking. The other violation, the floor area ratio. Right now we are under, because we joined the two lots, we're about 2.1. But once we add the new building, because of the square footage, we're going to go up above the 3.0, which is the ratio here. We're going to go to 3.4. So slightly over. A couple of concerns that I heard from the last time was trash. It's a very narrow street, very narrow sidewalk. We're going to implement put in there a trash room. Trash room is going to be 5 by 10 feet. Now, to be honest with you, I asked around. I don't know many buildings that have trash rooms here in the neighborhood. So we don't, whether this is sufficient size or not, we feel that it's adequate. It's certainly not necessary or required that every tenant will use a trash room. I think making the units bigger on this new building, the duplexes, people have more room to store the trash in their apartment. They may not use it, but it's going to be there as an amenity to the property. And you can have access to that trash room from within that main stairwell. You go out, and then the trash, whatever trash would be in there, will be brought out by property manager and put out on the trash days. The building also, there was another concern which was brought up, and I think that how far back is the building going? The building goes back about 36 feet. We are going back 30 feet. So we're not going to affect any windows on the back of Terramita that has windows, because that back other 6 feet is going to be designated for the second means of egress to meet the building code so we can come down. So those are the changes. Now, I'll say this, I appreciate the opportunity to be here again, and when we brought the original plan, there were some members that were here that are not here now, that may have proposed this project. There's the members that are here today that may have not heard this before. I'm going to leave it up to the discretion. In order to be fair to the abutters, in order to be fair to the neighborhood, I'm going to leave it to the discretion of the president and the members of the board. If you want to just take the information I provided, take it under advisement. If you want to vote, that's fine with me. But in order to be fair, I just want to say I noticed that there are some members that voted opposed to this project the last time. I don't know how they feel with the changes. So our hearing date is not until January 26th. So this is why I wanted to come back before the neighborhood in advance, so you guys can take this information. If you have concerns, more changes can be made, or I can come back in January, or as the president, I'm sure you can reach out to the members and see how they feel on it. But those are the changes, and we wanted to get back to and we hopefully, I think we met all the concerns of the neighborhood. I think this small parcel that's there, 50-foot parcel, in the middle of a multi-family residential subdivision that's surrounded by buildings, and it seems to be a reasonable fit, this plan. And it's a local contractor that's going to be doing the building, that's familiar with all the neighborhoods, done a lot of properties within that, the Spagnuolo family.
Just to address your question first, we did have discussed it as a council. I think we're prepared to take a vote today.
Yeah, I leave that up to your discretion.
You know, the reason we put it back on the agenda was because there are changes from the last time, and we want to be a place where, you know, developers can work. We want, you know, our input to be taken into account in these projects. Very vocal, representative, and not we feel like we want.
And I appreciate that. I mean, I think we try to meet all the concerns. I mean, and I know Sean, you want to know exactly. I think the last time we were here, we didn't know exactly the trash work, but the architect is 5 by 10. So at least we know, like I said, what, is that enough? I don't know. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you that's enough, but I think it's a reasonable space where someone wants to put trash in there. So it's in the building.
It is 5 by 10 more than we all have.
Yeah, well, let's go through the questions. I'm sure everybody has questions. I know the trash room is a hot topic in the neighborhood. I'm not sold on whether or not they're useful in general in the small building where there's not commercial pickup, where somebody physically, like a civilian, has to go into a room and pull everything out, especially in this case where you have to pull it out as part of the place and around to the.
It's going to come out the front. It won't have to go out the bottom.
Okay.
There's a doorway you can go in from the main entrance. So that was a concern, whether someone, a property manager, was going to come out and bring it out to Bartlett Place and bring it all the way around. Are they going to leave it in Bartlett Place? There's a trash problem in Bartlett Place already. So the access, as you can see, the main stairwell, there's a door that every unit can get to the trash room from the main stairwell. So it will be brought up through the front.
All right, so that makes it a little bit more useful. I mean, I believe that, like, you know, people have to live with their trash. They're going to be more conscientious about what they put in the trash and when they put it out, and utilize, you know, pickup dates and everything else, as opposed to putting it in the room and forgetting about it. But that's my opinion. Just a couple questions. I don't know exactly what the law is on roofs, like if you can lock the doors. You know what?
Well, we do have you don't have to provide access to it, but we do have second means of egress for every tenant. So that's why we're able to just keep them on. So
okay,
back stairwell, every tenant is going to have access to that back stairwell through the main entrance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is that back stairwell enclosed? Or?
No, it's not. Yeah, exterior stairwell.
Okay. Anybody council have questions?
Yeah, Dan, so I understand that there's access, typical access to the roof with the drainage pipe. I know you haven't built it yet, but the way it's going to be built, is there any way that someone can climb up to that roof, even though it's blocked off by a door? Is there any way reasonably that someone who really wants to get up there can get up there?
You can probably, from Terramia building, it's 55 feet.
Yep.
And I assume someone came from the Terramia building, jumped down and put graffiti on the Terramia building. It's quite possible. Now, there is fire escapes on the side, there's existing fire escapes on the side of the building, on the existing 92, 96 Salem Street, and the front of the building has there was old fire escapes, and there was bars coming out of the metal rails coming out of the building. That's all going to be gone. So beautify the property, the facade of the property and the side, all those fire escapes will now be eliminated, and the only way, second means of egress, the only way is going to be the stairwell. Now, is there somewhere someone else can climb? You know,
Just to clarify,
You know,
it's not
it-
a drain pipe,
I-
it's a ladder inside the building for the roof right now. And I have a picture of it,
well,
Anybody else in the council?
Yeah, I have a question. You're gonna sprinkle,
oh, it has to be fully sprinkled, up to code, change.
just say with the fire alarm too. That's why you got anything that property that much safer by adding a second real ingress, a means to put the fire out, and the alarm system is gonna be connected to the fire department also?
Whatever, fully up to code. It has to be. Yeah, fully up to code. Fire department will not sign off on the CO if it doesn't meet it.
So in a sense, the addition to bring the building up to.
Bring it up to code, and I think that's what you see with ISD, every time you're making some change, anytime you file a long form application enforcing your sprinkler building, I think it's the only way that you can get a lot of these buildings in the neighborhood that aren't sprinkled, get them to put sprinklers, sprinkler system in the building to make it safer. But since we are changing the zoning and adding property, it's gonna be sprinkled, fully sprinkled, yes, fire alarm.
I don't have the question as much as the statement. I mean, I remember when you came before us, it seems like all these things have been addressed that were concerns for every neighbor, so I appreciate that, especially the elimination of the 2 rooms. I thought that was a good thing to do, especially in this situation.
Yeah, I just have another question. In terms of actual bedrooms, because I know the units is not that, but in terms of actual beds.
The actual bedrooms in the new building, so you're gonna have a 2-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and a 1-bedroom, so 5 bedrooms.
And before it was 5, 1 bedroom.
There was 5 1-bedrooms, right,
It's similar.
than the existing property.
Anybody else?
What's the square footage of the new 1-bedroom?
The 1-bedroom square foot is 612 square feet, and then the 2 duplexes they were roughly 530 because the stair was like 1,060 roughly. Yeah, I mean, so the zoning board, I mean, in terms of 1-bedroom, the design, the architect that sits on the board, he likes to see a 1-bedroom a little bit bigger, but the fact that we took up the trash room and the existing stair, it's a little smaller than the 700, 750 square feet that the board likes to see. On 2 bedrooms, they like to see a 900 square foot unit. These are well beyond the 900 square feet.
You mentioned you're putting a staircase inside of Pennington to connect all the units.
There's an existing staircase, and we're gonna use that staircase, so that's why the buildings are gonna connect, because we're gonna use the existing staircase there, because the lot is pretty small that's currently there to make it a separate building for the whole stairwell, and you just won't be able to do it, it's not.
Dude, what's this, like the remnants of fire escape on the side?
Yeah, so,
I'm gonna set this up.
yeah, so that's gonna be gone, because that's gone. There's fire escapes on the side, so that's all gonna be eliminated. So beautify the property, the existing property is there, that's all gonna be, that's what I was talking about, the iron rods that come out.
But that's not necessary right now?
No, because there's side fire escapes for second. Yeah, side fire escapes, not currently now, so that's gonna be eliminated. The only thing that you might see on the facade, I know they have an existing tenant there, the wild duck. They have the cooling condenser on the existing Widget Street property, a single story. Talked to the contractor, he made his concern possibly relocating that to the front.
Of the building?
Not on Salem Street, on Widget Street.
And it'll be like, not on the front of the building?
It may, it's details we have to work out with the
Yeah,
contractor.
as you go in, the end of the building, up on the first floor, there's a high space. Work.
Any other questions from council? Great. Any butters? What's your name, what's your address?
Marla Kale, 90 Salem Street. I've owned a property for about 5 years. I've been there before as well, 3 years ago and last month and I definitely have a concern about the height of the building. There's no need to, just because you can go up to 55 feet doesn't mean you have to go up to 55 feet or 53, whatever it is. But there's no need to go, they're attaching to a building that's 4 stories. So there's no need to go a story above the current building. There's no need for that. Especially considering they're going to put a door to the roof of the building next door. I have a concern about that because at that point in time, that building, when it's combined, becomes the height of the building now is at 53 feet, whatever it's going to be. And now you're talking about that as of right, they have that roof above the existing 92, 96 Salem Street that I have an issue with, especially with the door going right onto that. Because talking to other people, I just have concerns that just because I'm not asking for a deck now doesn't mean that I can ask for it very short time from now. Floor area ratio, I definitely have an issue with. We have enough buildings that are constantly going above the floor area ratio. They exist for a reason to have that. It shouldn't be the norm that it's an exclusion. It's not meant to be always broken. It shouldn't have to be that way. We have far too many buildings that seem to get that exception and get allowed to be built because of that. I do definitely have an issue with trash and upkeep of the building. You don't have to build a new building, upkeep it and keep it nice. I see nothing but trash. To show you what I see on the roof, it's still there. They finally got rid of, after 3 years and of me arguing many times, finally got rid of the trash bags on the roof of 1692 Salem Street. But if you look on that, you'll see blue tarps on the building that's there. There's constantly trash there. There's old refrigerators and tires and everything I can see in that open area there. It's all trash on the bottom there that's just there. Apparently there's somebody I think living in that building that doesn't appear to be household.
What is that? That's not the Lori property, right?
Yes, it is.
The blue tarp.
Yes, it is. That's the building they want to build 5 stories. So that building, where you see that opening, will be where the 5-story building will be. The distance between the brick on my building to the brick on that building is 14 feet. So you're talking a 5-story building, 14 feet from my building and where we are. It's a very narrow street, and that's from, like I said, brick to brick. So that is a very narrow street, so a 5-story building is definitely gonna have an impact. The rest of the street is actually wider than that. Between our buildings are the shortest distance, and that's what it is, it's 14 feet. If you really think about it, not a very large street. So I also have a note from another owner who's also opposed to this. She wrote, there's another owner who's usually here, and I think she's working this evening, so I haven't heard from her. You can see that there's older pictures that show somebody, it wasn't a drain pipe, it was actually a ladder on the side of the building that goes up. So they went up the ladder that's attached to the building to get to the roof. I witnessed them doing that, so I've seen it happen, so I know they went up the ladder, and I know that they were there. There was old graffiti that was there that was, in comparison to what's there as of a month ago, I will take the old graffiti in a heartbeat. But that is what I have to do outside my studio. That's old, that's a new one as of a month ago. So somebody is gaining access somehow to the roof of that building. I don't think they're going from the other roof, because I've never seen anyone come off that. And that's also about a 14-foot drop that I don't think anybody's jumping off that roof to get down. But I see that. And also, you can see on it, I don't have to draw it, I just wanted to show it. There's some graffiti on the top of, on 5 Widget Street that appears to have been accessed through the roof of the current 1 Widget Street. It's also been updated as well, because I don't have an updated picture of that. It's just we get a lot of trash that's always been put on our building, on our side. On the days that are not trash days, we've witnessed them doing it. We've witnessed the owner bringing it into the building. We've witnessed them doing that. It's gone down some, but we still witness it. But we've had that happen a bunch of times, and we've had to pay for it for the
Take
trash.
pictures, call the city.
We've called the city a bunch of times. We've argued on it. We've actually confronted the owner a bunch of times on it as well, and he's like, "Oh, come on," and that's kind of the response we've gotten from him. They say owner occupied. I will let you use your judgment. The gentleman is a much older gentleman, so. But I mean, there's a lot of concerns. Trash is definitely a concern I have. Constantly being there, unruly building. But I definitely don't think it needs to go higher than the current limits.
All right, are there any other butters? Thank you.
Well, in regards to the height, and I certainly understand her point of view in regards to their existing property, which is 43 feet in height. But other than that particular building, it's surrounded by a 55-foot building. And I think really the main concern is that, this young lady lives on the 5th floor, so she'll see it, and that has to be clear. So I think that's probably the reason why, but it's surrounded, other than this particular property that's next door, doesn't give you a right, just because we go up 53 feet or wherever it is. You're right, we're not entitled just because it's a 55-foot height limit. No one's entitled to go there. That's why we're seeking a long form application to do that, and that's why there's violations. If we were to move forward to increase the height of the existing building, we would have to file a long form application, and the violations would have to come forward. Same thing with a roof deck. There's no proposal for a roof deck. Spoke with the owner of the property. The owner of the property doesn't want a roof deck. Now I understand that, 5 years down the line, things change, who knows. But right now, there is no plans for a roof deck. We didn't submit any plan for a roof deck. We know that's a concern in the neighborhood of having a roof deck, unless these were sold as condominiums and it's going to be owner occupied just for the exclusive use of maybe a top floor, then maybe we probably would consider something. But right now, there's no plans for a roof deck. for that property. Even if you want to put a roof deck there, once again, you have to file a long form. There is going to be violations, as of right, and you have to go through the whole process again. In regards to the FAR, and I understand the neighborhood, we're getting a lot of folks that are buying properties and want to maximize their properties and try to go up one story and go down into the basement. And it is a concern. FAR, I suspect that the majority of the properties here in the neighborhood in regards to FAR 3 are probably already in violation. And I would hope, and I think the city is taking a look at the FAR in the neighborhood. And we are going up slightly. We combined the two lots. So, yeah, right now it's 2.1. We're going up slightly to 3.4. And I understand it's over the threshold of 3, but it's slightly over. And but we hope we address. I understand the concerns with the trash. That the owners are going to get a property manager, make sure to keep the property clean. It's going to be owner occupied on the first floor. And we hope the plans here address the concerns of the neighborhood. I mean, in particular, after hearing 5 stories, 5 one-bedrooms, what I've heard is, it's going to be like 50 vision and dorm, and that the object is neighborhood concerns don't want to shed it. We want professionals that enjoy coming here and living here, it's safe, it's convenient, but we also want to encourage larger units for families to be here, and I think hopefully this satisfies, the option of having some young families to move in and rent, or even young professionals. So that said, the owner has been, Ms. Termini has been taking over the properties to manage all of Mr. DeMore's properties. So she's doing a great job. She's conscious of the neighborhood. We talk about these issues constantly. And so
do you think that this is an opportunity for the landlord to remedy some of these issues and carry on in a fashion that's more reflective of what we like?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Ownership to do in the neighborhood?
Absolutely. I think what you're going to see.
Property for 20 years and they haven't been.
I know, but just the question I ask is are they going to take this opportunity to do the right thing? That's what I'm asking.
And absolutely, and I talked to Ms. Termini. Ms. Termini has been managing the property now for a couple of years now, really less than 2 years. She's taken my concerns, and when we left the neighborhood meetings, what do you think happened? And I went over these concerns, and I said, trash is a huge issue in the neighborhood. We put a trash room. The units were smaller. I mean, all the units were 5 and 530 square feet, and that was a concern. We made them duplexes. I mean, financially, it may be better to have 5 one bedrooms, but she's done that because she wants to beautify the property, all the fire escapes, and as you see, the old fire escapes are still sticking out on Widget Street. It's all going to be removed. The property is going to be, beautified, it's going to look good, and the reasonable use of a building in that particular spot is very, using an analogy not really an analogy, compared to like Cooper Street. Cooper Street, there was just an empty, it was the old single-story funeral home, and a few years ago, before this board, I'm not sure all the members that are here today were here, but and you all remember it, and I think you see the construction on it was a single story, and the reasonable use of that property, funeral parlor probably wasn't there for the last 25 years, maybe more, and it's in a multifamily residential district, is a building, a residential building. And same thing here, even though it sits even though we're using the Salem Street address of the neighborhood, and it's in the neighborhood shopping district, it's still, Widget Street is multifamily, and the reasonable use of that property is residential.
We go back and look at a couple months ago, what was the FAR?
It was the same, it hasn't changed.
Okay, so that's the question. So what
Right.
becomes, if you were to drop 2 bedrooms, make it, instead of, the duplex, make them 1 bedroom instead of 2, what does that do to the FAR?
It's still the same, because we're still using the same square footage, and just combining the units and making an interior stairwell from the 4th floor, the 5th floor, and 2nd to the 3rd.
So you're adding 10 beds?
Adding 5.
Bedrooms, I'm sorry,
Adding 5 bedrooms.
I mean, could you?
And then the last building was 5 one bedrooms.
Right.
We're adding 2 bedrooms and a 1 bedroom.
So still has 5 bedrooms.
Right.
Let me ask you a question though. On the size, by relation of the size of the unit is lesser because you have larger units.
We have large, and it's not a violation anyway. It's really when Anthony Pisani speaks of the size of the unit. I think the city of Boston only is you have to have at least 450 square feet to live in. But Anthony Pisani, the architect, always maintained for a 1 bedroom unit. He likes to see a unit adequate living size 700 to 750 square feet. For a 2 bedroom, 900, 950 square feet. It's not written in the zoning code, but that's something he likes to see. So, you know, every time I have a project work with someone, I try to, you know, make that work. Sometimes they're not,
So
they
the only unit
can't.
that will be on it will be the first floor.
First floor, and you can easily make it a studio, but, you know, that's, don't want to make a studio.
This ladder that's going up to.
That would be, anything on the side of that building is going to be eliminated because the new building is going to be connected to the existing building. So this ladder, the existing fire escapes on the side, because all of the second means of egress is going to be by that new stairwell that goes down to the back. So that's all going to be eliminated.
Were the butters notified?
Of,
Were the butters?
of this, well, in this meeting, Marie, in regards to, we had an abutters meeting. I can't tell you when. We had a neighborhood council meeting prior. We had a resident association meeting. And the only abutter that really been very vocal is this young lady here. And we made sure, when I asked Phil if I could be on the agenda, we made sure that she was well aware of it. And no other abutters,
No
the only
other
other
abutters
abutters,
were
the only other abutter that showed up at the Widget Street was, for the abutters meeting, was an owner from across next door on Widget Street, so it would be to
that's
her
another
right.
one from my unit as
And he was in support of the building, didn't think it would have any effect on the neighborhood. I spoke to Matt Gallo, who owns the building, 55 foot, which is immediately to the west. I submitted a letter on the last meeting that he was in favor of no opposition to him going up. I spoke to a few residents at Butler Place. No concerns. They would love to see it renovated and beautified, and it really is an eyesore right now. So in terms of notification, for the last several months, she's been the active abutter and one who has access to her property, trustees or her residents, so she's the only one. So I think we provided enough notice to her, so she's here tonight.
So there are actually multiple people in my building that are opposed to this, and I was the only one notified. I tried to contact them to get them here, but when you have a letter from one, then usually it's here as well. So when he says I'm the only one, there was actually another one in my building.
He just explained that there were other meetings concerning this.
Yeah, we weren't
There are
notified
the
of this.
butters tonight.
We were not notified about this one again.
Those people in opposition. This is where we make our decision. When we see enough people here to say, we don't want the building 55 feet, we have nobody other than you speaking.
You have a letter as
Yeah,
well.
and I believe, I understand.
The butters meeting was July 13th.
July 13th, and I think you were present, so, you know, there was, other than these young ladies, there was a red.
I was not the only one there.
There was Darlene was there.
You don't have letters sent out beforehand about other people's.
Past issue, but we want to move forward. We want to beautify, we want to make it better, but she does have an issue. She had an issue in the past. She doesn't want to be blocked. And the girl's only been there 5 years, so what, we've owned the property over 20. Now we have money, we want to fix it. Why can't we beautify what we have? It's
Why don't you maintain what you currently have? Perhaps you can start
So Marie, to
there.
answer your question, you know, there was a gentleman that owned units over at Widget Street, was supportive of it, didn't come to any meeting, got a letter from Matt Gallo, I spoke to some folks at Butler Place. I tried reaching out to the landlord at Jeremiah, been unresponsive, and I can tell you, I've tried them on other projects too, so, but, you know, this young lady, the Darlene Romano was present at the abutters meeting, but I'm not going to speak for Darlene.
And Victor was there and did have letters from other people in my building that were also opposed to it, but he can attest to that. I know were sent to him because they were sent to me as well.
She's the only one that showed up at every other. But it's fine, and their building may be opposed, and that's fine, but that doesn't make it an unreasonable project.
Any other questions?
Tim, I'm sorry if this was asked the last meeting. What's the construction timetable on something like
How long does it take to, probably,
Depends what the foundations are.
I mean, several months, I mean,
Foundations a couple of months.
foundation alone a couple of months, so, I mean, foundation a couple of months, and once you get the foundation, how long to build 5 stories? 7? 6 to 7 months, 6 to 7 months, and we have no problem giving a construction schedule of what's gonna happen, you know, we have to sprinkle the building, I mean, we have to probably work
Take a
with.
day, take
Yeah,
the
so-
street, close it, you know, back and forth.
And then in terms of construction management, would you take up all of Wiggett Street? I mean, how, what space outside of the footprint of the property would you need?
The foot- I think what he's asking is, in terms of building up, would you have to close Widget Street or?
I don't think we could.
Okay.
Because there's no, like,
That's
there's
a
no.
right.
You're not gonna close,
It's a fire
we're gonna have
hazard.
details.
Sure.
Cooper Street, for instance, has the
Right.
spots in front, but you can't have spots in front of this building because there's nothing.
No, so they'll probably shut it like for, 4 or 5 hours at a time. You know, they take the street,
Yeah,
put the lines in, close it
but
up.
like they take deliveries and they do demo and stuff. right?
There's
It's
no
got-
deliveries on that
It's
street.
gotta be in and out, because Bartlett Place
There's
is
no
fire lane,
deliveries
there's
on
no
Widget
other
Street.
fire lane, so they can't shut that down. So
Yeah.
it's gonna
No.
be challenging, for
Right,
sure.
no trucks come up and down Widget Street.
So like, how are you gonna get steel? Bricks?
Oh, we have to take trucks.
Yeah, all right, that's what he's saying. Would you
Yeah.
be able to, some construction
Yeah.
vehicles will be able to come up Wigan Street, do their work?
Short time, close it, open it, yeah. We'll have details.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
any other questions? Any other, somebody wanna make a motion to vote?
So we don't really have to, we could just vote, according to our bylaws. Like,
I'd like to make a motion, I'd like to make a motion to support the expansion of 9294 Salem Street, to add 3 units, two bedrooms and 1 bedroom on the Widget St side of the building.
well, we'll have to second it if the vote, so I'll second
While we're voting, we're gonna start with the next one.
that. So, number 9 on the agenda, 9294 Salem Street, Nicholas Moore. It was supported 5-1. Those in support were John Bregman, Ryan Kenny, George Mendoza, Maurice Mboli, Carmen Marino, and those in opposition was Sean Henson.
Next, we have our meeting